I'd like to call to order the June 25th, 2013 regular meeting of the Boulder Valley School District Board of Education. Chris, will you call the roll?
Albright. Here. Belleville. Here. Benford. Fuqua.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Smith. Here.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to remind people who are here tonight, the vision of the Boulder Valley School District is to graduate students in the new century who have the knowledge, skills, and personal characteristics that will make this world a safer, more thoughtful, and more inclusive place in which to live. Begin with a first agenda item, the superintendent's report. Dr. Messenger.
President Reed, members of the board, good evening. And I have a few topics I would like to comment on this evening, and I, of course, would be glad to answer any questions that you might have about these topics or others. I just want to bring to your attention a workshop that will be hosted by Boulder Valley School District, and we will formally send you this information, but I just wanted to mention it tonight on Friday, August 9th, a day-long session that will be held here at the Ed Center with Dr. Frank Locker. We are working as we set the stage for our plans for our SIPSE committee and our work and planning for the next bond. What we're striving to do is to be sure that our building design and the improvements that we might make with the community support would be reflective of 21st century learners and those concepts, so to both meet the needs of students today and in the future. Frank Locker is trained as an architect and also an education planner. He conducts a course at Harvard, which we thought about going to, but we realized it'd be easier just to bring him here. But the course that he teaches is through the School of Education and Design, and it's about effective education, innovative learning environments. I've had the chance to have cross paths with Dr. Locker several times over the years, and so we've had some conversations with him through the spring, and Susan Cousins and Don Orr have been communicating directly with him and really trying to help our teachers and building principals and SIPSE committee members and others to begin to envision what these learning environments will be for the future, so we don't tempt ourselves to create environments that would have been appropriate for the past, but not necessarily helpful for the future. So Dr. Locker has done work both across the country as well as internationally, and so he's got some very interesting and provocative ideas. We will send materials in advance of the workshop to get folks to do some pre-reading and some thinking, and then we'll have some good conversation. So we'll get that on your calendar. You'd be welcome to participate in any part of that day you'd like. I think it would be helpful just to have that context as we fold this work back in to the planning with the SIPSE committee so that you see how these pieces connect together. So we're excited about this opportunity, and again, I think it'll be a nice experience for those who participate. So that's one topic. The other is we've initiated work with Dr. Kimberly Miller out of Fort Collins. She will serve as advice and consultant facilitator for our work in the ongoing strategic plan built on the goals and vision, mission, values that you'll consider for action this evening. It appears that we have good support for those. We had an initial planning session last week, and we'll have a couple more yet this summer. Part of what we'll do early on is create a steering committee that will help advise us on this work, and that steering committee will include teachers, other employees, principals, parents, members of our community, so that we have a representative view as we go forward. Our interest in that is obviously to have bright, capable people having insight and giving advice, but the other is to build ownership for strategies, action steps we will build into the strategic plan going forward and form action teams, et cetera. So I'll keep you advised of that. I just want you to know that we've started that work. Dr. Miller was an individual who had given us a proposal last year when we started this process. She revised her proposal based on the progress we made in the last 6 months, and we'll build from there. So good work starting with Dr. Miller. A couple other items. I have been asked to assist in the leadership of the CASE Legislative Committee for this upcoming session. So today met with representatives of CASE as well as the prior chair to begin that transition. So I'll keep you informed with that. They'll make an official announcement of that later this month or later in July. Some of you ask informally about work we're doing around technology. The Technology and Education Conference was in Copper Mountain a week ago. We had a good delegation from the Boulder Valley School District teachers, principals, district leaders and others that participated in that conference. I had an opportunity to go up for the day on leadership around technology. I got a lot of positive feedback already. Really a chance for folks to network across our state and beyond, and also to teach and to learn from one another about incorporating technology and instruction from little children, all the way through high school. So productive state conference that we participated in. And then my final comment would be, I serve on representing our district on the Public Education Business Coalition Board of Directors. We meet monthly with business representatives in the Denver metro area and also district leaders from that area. And so on Sunday evening, we had a gathering in Colorado Springs where the staff of PEBC presented on the many constructive projects going on around the state and actually around the country, and impact it's having on students and student learning. So I think it's a nice association. Boulder has not been represented in PEBC for a few years, so we are now, and they've welcomed us in, and so I think it'll create great opportunities going forward, and some innovation going on in our district and others that we can share. So that concludes my report. I'd be glad to answer questions or comment further. Jenny?
So, members of the Capital Improvements Planning Committee will be invited to this workshop?
Yes, they will be.
Okay, great. And then how are you going to recruit members for the steering committee for the strategic plan? Or whatever it is?
We are being very strategic about it. We are Tina Mew, members of our group, so we've identified the groups that need to be represented, and then we'll reach out to, we're gonna actually do a bit of an application process, so that we, so I think Tina's plan, I don't want to speak for her, that would be to spread that to her membership, and then folks who are interested, and then we'll, try to identify. So we want different levels and areas represented, different points of view, so.
And then members of you said some members of the public as well, how are we?
So
going to
we'll
recruit
work out to the groups like DAC and probably DPC, probably folks who, have some involvement already, so.
Okay.
So because they've been following this, and we've been briefing them along the way. So I don't think we'll have any trouble finding interested folks in those groups. So, but that's probably where we'd go with our parent representatives and community.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Dr. Messenger. It's been a busy couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, lots going on.
So our next item of business is public hearing and public participation. The board recognizes the value of public comment on issues related to the operation of schools. To ensure that our meeting is conducted in an orderly manner, we ask that persons who address the board please confine your comments to matters that are germane to the business of the school district. Speakers on agenda items will be heard first, followed by those speaking to non-agenda items. Please limit your presentation to 2 minutes, and please recognize that students often attend or view our meetings. Speakers' remarks, therefore, should be suitable for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement that is unrelated to the business of the school district or inappropriate for K-12 students. There's a lighting system on our podium. It will turn green when your 2 minutes start. It will blink amber when you're down to 30 seconds, and it will turn red and give you a slight beep when your time is up. At that point, please wrap up your comments, and we'll continue on. So we have a couple of speakers tonight, all signed up on non-agenda items. So we'll start first with Yale Cohen. Followed by Valerie Walsh. Great, well, followed by Barbara Jaffers.
Hi, my name is Barbara Javers, and I'm the mother of a new student at Manhattan Middle School. I'm also the former dance director at Manhattan Middle School. And it came to my attention when I attended a welcome event for my son that the dance program at Manhattan is in danger of falling by the wayside. It says in the Manhattan Middle School mission statement that the school offers in-depth study of various art forms in many areas, and they follow the Getty model. The Getty model covers 4 themes addressed in different art areas. Those include music, storytelling, dance, and theater. There's a key component of the Getty model that's missing at Manhattan, and we need a rich and well-developed dance curriculum. The dance program was cut due to budget shortfalls, and I think we can all understand that. But I would argue that cutting the dance program without any communication amongst the parent body and the student body and the teachers at the school would be a big mistake on the part of any administration. There are so many students in this district who dance and would benefit greatly from a dance program at Manhattan, and I feel that there are many ways that we could creatively preserve the dance program. I believe that if the district is going to support a fine arts middle school in Boulder, Colorado, the school should have training in all art areas. Boulder has a very rich and diversified dance community. The Secretary of Education, Ann Duncan, said, "Children from disadvantaged backgrounds, students with disabilities, and English language learners often do not get the enrichment experience of affluent dance students anywhere except school." Regardless of whether a student has money for a private dance education or not, students at a fine art focused school should have access to quality training. Manhattan has one dance class currently, which is being taught by a Spanish teacher. And although I'm sure she's quite capable of teaching dance history and basic dance awareness, there's not a curriculum available that will address the needs of a committed dance student. I would just request that we somehow add an agenda item early next year to discuss this in more detail. Thank you.
Our next item of business is board communications and comment. Sam?
Well, Bruce, could we get a little more information on what's happening with dance at Manhattan? Thanks. I just wanted to comment, because a couple things have happened in the last 24 hours that put this on my radar about the summer reading program. One was seeing the email the district sent to parents, encouraging them to take their kids to one of the many excellent public libraries we have in our district. And another was a conversation with the Boulder Library Director, Valerie McGinnis, last night at a Library Foundation meeting where she expressed great enthusiasm and gratitude to our district staff for the partnership around summer reading. And I think we saw this in the winter. There's certain schools that are partnering with certain libraries around the district to see how much of a difference summer reading can make in reading progress. So I think it's fantastic. I don't know if we have any information on participation rates, but just a kudo to the district for partnering with the libraries.
Do a summary of our summer programming. Probably early fall, and we'll certainly include that, Sam. I think it'd be good because we've expanded with what you described and beyond. And so anyway, we want to give an update to the board because obviously we're investing resources in that. So we'll be planning to do that. Thanks.
Nice. Thanks, Sam. Lori?
Thanks. I had the privilege, I guess it was last week, recently, since our last meeting, to attend a program for children who live in the public housing program on Calmia. That is a program that is run by the Boulder Housing Partners Foundation and our own Impact on Education, and is taught by Boulder Valley teachers. And it's for low-income children. It's low-income housing, so it's low-income children. And it was literacy and fun and learning and talking about language. And it was absolutely inspiring to see this program. And I was so proud to see the collaboration between our three organizations, the housing people, impact people, and teachers that are our teachers from Foothills and Columbine. And I would urge you, if you ever have a chance to go and see some of these programs, it was just amazing. They had young kids, ages 3 to 5, and then children must have been like 6 to 8. It was just phenomenal. I was just very moved and real proud of the effort that we're doing on dealing with the achievement gap. And as part of the goal of the Boulder Housing Partners Foundation is to deal with the achievement gap. So one more example of great partnership. So it was wonderful. It was kind of unclear to me how long this program goes. I think it starts with this program, and then many of those children, although not the preschoolers, but many of those children will go to our summer school program, and then I think they come back again into this program at the very end. But it was absolutely amazing. Was very pleased to see the work. The other thing that I did this weekend was go to the CASB board meeting. It was on Friday and Saturday. And I'll just give you a couple of the highlights. We discussed the ballot measure related to the, the question for school funding, and the CASB board voted to endorse it. Not without, and it followed a lot of discussion about what it might mean to rural districts, what it means in terms of stability, what it means in terms of campaigning, but the board eventually did endorse it. I understand petitions are out, have been out for a couple of weeks, although I haven't seen any. I don't know if anybody else has seen one, but I haven't seen one. We also talked about some of the reforms that might be coming. This year there was talk about this reform about teacher licensure and how that if teachers have poor evaluations over a couple of years, that they might lose their license. So I have no idea where these kinds of reforms come from. They don't seem to bubble up from our community, but anyway, it's something that we should be thinking about for next year, just to make sure that we can get out in front of it. And if you're doing more legislative work, this seems like it would be something
Top
that
of our list.
is really important to think about. And the school boards are very concerned about it as well, because many districts have a hard time hiring people, and to, lose good teachers, maybe whose children aren't improving as much as we would like, it may mean that there wouldn't be a teacher in some of these rural districts. So, and the other thing another big issue that we talked about was term limits. And it's something that CASB has looked at before, and they'll look at again with the delegate assembly. And there's a lot of concern about, with term limits, board members leave after 8 years. It usually takes a little while to get your feet on the ground, and by the time you are sort of figuring out how things go, you're out of office. So it's just something that the organization is thinking about, that they might want to support extending term limits, or maybe asking to do away with them. So that was it. It was a great discussion. It was a lot of fun to be there. It's always an inspiring discussion. It was fun. That was it. Thanks.
Thanks, Lori. Leslie?
I just have a couple of items. First of all, I just want to congratulate Horizon K-8 for the GOCO grant that they just got. I was at Montessori when the school moved around a lot, and we got a GOCO grant to get some playground equipment because we left it all over the place. And it really does require partnering with the city and the neighborhood, and from the article, it sounds like Fraser Meadows, they talked to the retirees and they want to make a intergenerational park. I didn't realize with the expansion that they had lost a lot of their playgrounds, so I think that's just great that they're doing that, and I thank the parent, I can't remember her name, that spearheaded that grant. The other thing I got to do last week was to attend a teacher training for teachers that are doing summer school at Casey and Monarch K-8. It's a new pilot that they're trying where they're merging science with literacy, and the focus is literacy, but science is the vehicle. And so they're going to be using a wind energy curriculum, and so some of the time they're going to be building turbines and doing testing, and then they're going to be reading about it and writing. And my graduate student is going to help with doing some Excel training for the students. And it was open to I think all the Casey students. I think there's about 270 students that are signed up for it. So it'll be neat to see how that works out. That's going to be among the programs that you'll be reporting on. And I look forward to getting over there and seeing the kids and teachers in action. It'll be fun, I think. So hopefully they won't make that summer slide that a lot of the students make over the summer. Yeah, just wanted to say, have a nice break, everyone. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, as I told my kids the other day, your summer's a third over. Mine hasn't even started yet. So. They didn't appreciate that. Jenny?
So thank you for coming tonight. We always appreciate hearing from members of the public. And I hadn't planned on speaking about this during my time, but it seems to me like a board agenda item at some point on choice in Boulder Valley might be useful, because one of the things that there are several different topics within there. How do we support, once we've established a choice school, how do we support that curriculum and make sure that it's full and complete as it can be? And the other thing that it occurs to me to think about a little bit is, how do these programs all connect? Because it seems to me like, I found myself wondering, well, if you go to Manhattan Middle School and take dance, where do you go in high school? And do we support a continuation of that kind of thing on into high school? is there anything that comes before it in elementary school? And I know it's an issue, say, with our bilingual schools. Where do you go, if you've been to a bilingual elementary school, where do you go to learn Spanish in high school at the level that you've been learning it? Which is not totally related to what you're saying, but I think just as a broad topic, it might be worth talking about as we get time sometime. And then, thank you for all the information that people, my fellow board members, that you bring back. I think it's all really interesting, and since we can't all be every place at once, and we've talked a lot about how important it is to keep Boulder Valley represented in the larger community, I really appreciate people who are able to do those kinds of things. And then I was asked, I just wanted to clarify something that was said during the DAC report on talented and gifted programming in Boulder Valley a couple of meetings back. At that time, they said, the report said that there are 11 FTE district-wide to support talented and gifted programming in the district. And somebody brought this to my attention, so I wanted to clarify. That's not teachers. That's not licensed teachers. That's para FTE. So we support our talented and gifted programming with 11, they're tutors actually, I think, but 11 tutors who are, some of them happen to have teaching background, but some of them, it's not really even required that you have a college degree. So I just wanted to clarify that. And have a great summer, everybody.
Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, that is, still that number seems so small. So I'd just like to thank Senators Heath and Senators Johnson for coming to Boulder, our very own Senator Heath, of course, but visiting with the board about their work in the legislature and what they might be doing to try and get more funding for kids and what their proposal looked like. And they answered questions and details that it was just really great to hear from them about what they saw as the opportunities for more funding for schools in the future. So other than that, I have nothing left. So we can keep this moving since it's the last meeting before summer and go right to our consent agenda, which tonight consists of personnel items, approval of minutes, the 2012-13 additional transfer of funds June, approval of purchase for Microsoft licensing, cash management for the 2013-14 fiscal year, GASB 54 resolution, new course proposals 2013-2014, proposed policy JH, and second amended charter school contract for Horizons K-8 school. I need a motion. Jenny, seconded by Leslie. Does anybody have anything they would like to pull? Does anyone have any comments or questions about any items? Jenny?
I don't fully understand the GASB 54 resolution. I sort of get it, but just a quick explanation of what the purpose of it is again. Oh, well, then I'm so glad I asked the question. I would hate to have him waste his time.
GASB 54 statement. It is a statement that was went into effect in 2011, and it basically requires us to break down into various components our ending fund balance, and we budget funds, or we put funds in those categories based upon whether they are spendable, non-spendable, committed, assigned, or unassigned. And what we're looking for basically here is to put categories into the committed fund balance, was the highest category or assigned by the highest spending authority of the school district. So we're looking to put two types of amounts from our ending fund balance: our school resource allocation carryover and our textbook carryover. Those are committed as part of the budget process of your beginning fund balance. And then we also put a category for assigned fund balances, which are for spendings that the superintendent then can assign, and then the remaining unassigned falls into the bottom category. So it's a way of putting fund balance into categories that are consistent between all governments. So.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments or questions? If not, Chris, can you call the vote?
Albright.
Yes.
Belleville.
Yes.
Benford. Fuqua.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So our almost last item, the action items, vision, mission, and goals. I need a motion. Jenny, seconded by Leslie. So this is the end product of a lot of work that started with a lot of input from the community, a lot of input as we went along the way with the community, a lot of input from staff, Dr. Messenger, expert facilitation. But really, this is something that, while it took a little while to get to, is amazing in that I can still hear some of those people from that first day and some of what, as I reread this in preparation for this meeting, what they were wanting the district to be. So I think we really kept the community's voice with that. This item tonight is, any final questions, comments on any of these as board members see fit. So with that, board members. Jenny?
I can think of something to say about this, and I just would like to, I think this is one where we could actually break our arms patting ourselves on the back. We have worked really hard to get here, and I'm really pleased with the result. And I love the fact that we had so much community input, and that as a board we were able to, and I really love the fact that as a board we were able to reach consensus on this, because it wasn't always clear from the get-go that we would all agree on what the goals as a district should be. And so I think these, there's still a lot of work to do. It's one thing to have the goals and another thing to actually put them into action. But I think they're really ambitious goals. But I'd like to congratulate all of us for having gotten this far. And I look forward to putting them into effect starting in the fall, to the extent that we haven't been doing a lot of this stuff already.
Well, I'm just delighted that we're able to vote on this tonight before the end of the school, or the not school year's ended, but our last meeting for the school year. The one thing I just want to make sure that people remember is they're not necessarily set in stone. If things are not working the way we intended them to, that we can certainly change them. The last set of goals, we stuck with it 5 years, even though we weren't completely happy, but you have to get started somewhere, and I think it'll probably just get easier as we continue working in this manner that we've developed to work together. So I'm pleased.
Thanks, Leslie. Tom?
So I think we've got a good set of goals to move forward here. Certainly, they've been vetted by our community and our school district and this board, and we spent a lot of hours going over these. And with each goal, there's a lot of background behind it, a lot of inputs that came out, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas of how we do this and process that we didn't really want in goals, but that's our next step. And so what I'm really looking forward to is now our planning process with a strategic plan, how we put that in place with the milestones, and we can lay those out, and they're be measurable on shorter durations of time. We can use these now for the plan for budgeting money and programs and moving forward. So, I was often asked, should these be SMART goals? And my response was, well, no, not exactly. I think the SMART part of that comes within the strategic plan and how we implement those. We want them to be clear and concise, give us direction, but not necessarily in the context of the verbiage we use to be measurable as such. But I think that's our challenge next, is to get these things into a plan that is measurable, that we can then use to execute, the programs and the budgets and the staff to achieve the vision and the mission, and then, of course, the goals along with it. I'm glad that we included value statements, because that's where we started, and a lot of these things came out of our value statements. And I'm glad that we also include some of the strategies we talked about as part of this document. So I think that's important for us to maintain those, because it gives us that whole context as we move forward. So I'm looking forward here as we go into the next year and see in August when we come back what Dr. Messenger's staff have put together and have worked with the consultant that we're going to be using there to help us in that planning. So.
Thanks, Tom. Without further comment, Chris, will you call the vote?
Albright?
Yes.
Belville? Yes. Benford? Fuqua?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I get to read a new vision statement in the fall. So our last item is any agenda items for the agenda committee to think about over the summer. I heard the one already, kind of an information item on choice in BVSD and how the district supports focus schools. Any other items for the agenda committee?
I would like to, as we're hearing a lot about this ballot measure, I would like a little bit more in-depth information from our district about what the measure means to Boulder Valley and also to the state. And so I'd like more detail about what the impact might be. I think it's going to be a big question in the fall with the campaigns, and I think the more informed we are, the better we will be, the better our public will be to understand Boulder Valley School District's, the impact on us. So that's what I'd like to see. Coming up soon in August, if that, not that I mean to necessarily put a timeline, I mean, I realize it goes to agenda setting, but I think it'll be timely in August and September. Yeah.
Bruce?
So with Lori's comments, I think what might be helpful for the agenda planning group, and maybe for all of us, is if there are specific questions or aspects, dimensions of the ballot, because as you know, we kind of laid out a general framework that are kind of the big picture view of the benefit of and some of the challenges still with it, and we presented that last week with the two senators. So, I mean, and you can email those to me, would be great, if you think of things, and if they're big or small, but then we can kind of put that together and visit an agenda setting, and we've done some legwork already on pulling information together, but I just want to be sure we're investing our energy to address questions or topics that are of most interest to the board as we roll through these early fall months and have the discussion. So we'd be glad to do that. But if you think of things, or Lori, if you're thinking of things, just if you want to email me, that'd be great, and then we'll kind of frame that up and bring it to the agenda setting committee, okay? Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks. With nothing else, we can take our brief July recess. So thank you, everyone.